to this milestone. It was my honor and privilege on July 29th, 1974, to be the crucifer leading the procession of 11 brave women and 4 courageous bishops who irregularly, but not invalidly, ordained them priests in my home parish, the Church of the Advocate in Philadelphia. While applauded by many, they were simultaneously reviled and vilified by many who declared their orders to be an abomination. 3 years later, Jean Sproat, who, as Arrington mentioned, had also had borne the name of Sister Mary Bride in the religious order and community of which she was a member and from which she was expelled because of her aspiration to holy orders, was ordained here in this parish. Her path was not easy, but she persevered and ultimately became our beloved canon pastor of the Cathedral Church of St. Paul. This was the role she was filling when I arrived in the diocese in 1989, and the role I watched her faithfully serve until her illness and death in 1995, and during which she wore a whimsical, benign smile. Fortunately, we remember her well by having dedicated the lower floor gathering space at the cathedral as Sproat Hall, which also is graced by her serene photograph. Canon Sproat was a model of perseverance and certainly helped pave the way for many of us who entered holy orders later. I became a deacon in 1979 and a priest in 1980, and not without having to overcome some obstacles, including the vigorous objections of my mother, who considered me decidedly unfit. She reluctantly conceded my suitability only upon entering the church and encountering many of her friends who had come to show their support. The path to episcopacy was by no means easy, as even more in the church opposed a woman as bishop than as priest, and this woman in particular. As I went through the walkabouts, then referred to as the dog and pony show, to meet with those who would be voting in the September 1988 election for a suffragan bishop, I thought to myself, I am never going to see these people again in life, and so I can say exactly what is on my mind. And that is what I did. And look what it got me. Later, some folks said to me, "You were the nominee who gave us honest answers and did not tell us what you thought we wanted to hear." Well, elected I was, but not all was sweetness and light, as perhaps some here, like my friend Rand Chase, can attest. One traditionalist organization declared, "The final crisis has come upon the Episcopal Church." I think there were a few more waiting in the consent process to my election was sticky, to say the least. I just about made it through a majority of the standing committees of the diocese. At the request of a priest friend of mine, the Diocese of North Carolina voted twice, and the vote was worse the second time around. I fared a little better with the bishops having jurisdiction, who voted after the standing committees. My consecration was like a coronation before 8,500 of my closest friends at the Hines Convention Center, with only 2 vocal objections and 1 very loud objection to the objectors. A young man who had come with a Roman Catholic priest stood in the balcony of the convention center and shouted to the objectors, "Go home!" A few weeks later, I was walking across the campus of Episcopal Divinity School in Cambridge, and a young man bounced up to me and said, "How are you doing?" "I'm Fred." I said, "Fred?" He said, "Go home!" I said, "Oh, that Fred." Some 62 bishops laid hands on me that day, including 2 unexpected bishop guests, one the Bishop of Rupert's Land and one from the church in South India. And after that glorious day, then the hard work really began, mostly by trying through faithful ministry to reassure the people of this diocese that they had not made a fatal mistake in electing me. And I hope that has been the case over the 13 years of active service until my retirement in 2002. And on occasion, in the years that have followed, it has been an honor and a privilege to serve as Bishop Suffragan, and I am grateful to God for the opportunity to have done so, and I am grateful to Marilyn Jean Sproat, who helped pave the way